Crew, and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Vlogmas. Today I'm going to be giving you guys basically my tips and tricks on how to start monthly meal planning or just meal planning for a significant amount of time in general. When I make my meal plans, I always plan for a month at a time. I grocery shop once a month and it's just the way I do things. In the long run, it saves me just a ton of money and time, and that's the main reasons why I do it. I get questions all the time on how to do it, and I figured with the new year coming up, this might be the perfect time for you to give this a try, see how it goes for a couple of months, like the whole new year, new me thing. So I'm just gonna give you guys a couple tips on how to be successful in meal planning, how to make it feel less daunting maybe, and basically what I've learned over the last probably 4 or 5 years of really doing once a month meal planning for my family. My first tip hands down is to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to actually make a meal plan for the entire month. I very rarely will sit down and do a whole month's worth of meals in one sitting or in one day. I really do give myself probably 3 or 4 days to go ahead and write meals down. A lot of the times I'll hang my meal plan like up on the fridge behind me or up on our cork board, and my husband can add meal ideas that he has or requests. I always ask my family for different requests and stuff, and that always helps a lot, making sure that I'm actually giving myself enough time to do so. However, there has been months, like this month in particular, I made my meal plan and then the day I went to go grocery shopping, I lost my meal plan. So I had to remake it, and I remade it in probably like 25 minutes, and it's like not the fanciest meal plan or the most variety or anything like that, but it works. But making sure you're giving yourself enough time to actually get it done. I usually start my meal plan about a week before the end of the month because I grocery shop on the 1st of every single month. So giving myself that last week of the month to really crank out that meal plan. And that way I'm only like planning 4 or 5 days at a time, and then I can, you know, take a day or two to think about it and add more meals as I think of them. It's not as stressful that way, and that's a huge tip. My next tip would maybe instead of starting off meal planning for an entire month at a time, you should just plan for 2 weeks and then just repeat it for the last 2 weeks of the month. I know a lot of people who do this actually. They will just plan 14 meals and then they repeat the same 14 meals, however you want to do that. But I know a lot of people who will just make a meal plan and then just buy everything times 2, make everything twice, and then that way you're only planning, you know, half a month instead of a whole month, but you can still do your once a month grocery shops, you still have everything. I know a lot of people who do that and it works really well for them. My next tip would be to utilize Pinterest or Google. I love Pinterest. I talk about this pretty much every single time I do a meal plan video. I have Pinterest boards, which are basically like my own personal recipe books. Like, that's how I use them. Whenever I'm meal planning, I will just scroll through my Pinterest boards and see what I haven't made in a while. I'm always adding new things, and I find a lot of family favorites off of Pinterest, and it's a completely free app. It's not like I'm paying for recipe books or anything like that. And then right in with adding, you know, having your Pinterest boards and things like that, go ahead and print off those recipes if you need to and make your own recipe binder. I have just recently started doing this, making my recipe binder and kind of growing it and making sure that I have more paper copies of things. That way, when you're meal planning, you can just go ahead and like flip through your Pinterest book or your cookbooks, your recipe binders, all those things, and you can go, oh, I haven't made this in a while, and then make that, and that makes the meal planning process really, really easy. And with Pinterest and with like a hardcover recipe book binder thing, the more recipes you have, the easier it gets, because say you have 100 recipes, you know, that's 3 months worth of meals really, and you're not eating the same meal twice. So the more you have, the more you add to it over time, the easier it's gonna be to meal plan, because you just have so many options readily available and you've made them all before, you know what you like, things like that. It really helps make that process easy, because you're really just flipping through your own personal recipes and writing it down on a piece of paper for your meal plan. And that would be my biggest tip, I think, out of everything. My next tip is something that I don't personally do, but I have heard other people do it and it works well for them, is to have every day of the week have a specific meal. So like every Monday you do pasta, every Tuesday you do chicken, every Wednesday you do fish, every Thursday you do beef, every Friday, I don't know, you do pizza or tacos. Like, it really doesn't matter, but I've heard a lot of people do this where they're sitting down to make their meal plan. There's 4 Mondays in the month. They will make 4 different pasta dishes and just write them down, 1 pasta dish every Monday. I have used this in the past. I don't love it. It does work though, and it also helps make sure that you're eating variety. You're getting a lot of different things in your diet, things like that. It can definitely work, and then that way it doesn't feel like you're really eating the same meal over and over and over again throughout the month, because you're only eating pasta once a week. You're only eating chicken once a week, instead of feeling like, oh, you know, I planned 16 turkey dishes this month and there's 30 days and I didn't realize I did that, and now I'm eating a ton of turkey, and then you get sick of it. So that can help. I know a lot of people also who will make their meal plan like that and then they don't actually every single day as they planned. How I used to meal plan is I would actually print off a calendar and I would write in a meal for every single day of the month on that calendar. Calendar would go up right here, and you know, it would be the 1st and it says we're eating pizza, so we're eating pizzas on the 1st. On the 2nd it would say like tater tot casserole, so we're eating tater tot casserole on the 2nd. Where now how my meal plan has kind of evolved is, just because it says on Monday we're eating pizzas, I might switch it out and maybe we're eating steak on the 1st instead of pizzas. And then I will just cross off steak. That way I know we already ate it. And we just kind of like pick from the list of food that I have versus following it day by day by day. I think as my family grows, our schedule gets busier. It's like I don't always remember to set out meat. That's a huge one. Maybe we're busy. Maybe I made the meal plan and I didn't realize that like London has T-ball on Thursdays and Fridays, so I can't make an elaborate meal. So giving myself a little leeway has helped a lot, kind of like as my family has grown, and things are always ever changing and your meal plan has to evolve for that, which leads me perfectly into my next tip, which is something that I learned the hard way, is not to put in your convenience meals on your meal plan. So let me explain. For me, convenience meals might be things like mac and cheese, hamburger helper, maybe like a favorite bag of like orange chicken from Aldi, or a bag of chicken sandwiches. Those frozen pre-made meals or those boxed meals are what I refer to as convenience meals. I have learned to not put those convenience meals on my meal plan, because then when I need them, I might not have them. So what I have turned to doing over the last 2 years or 3 years is once or twice a year, I will stock up on hamburger helpers specifically, and I'll buy 15 hamburger helpers maybe once or twice a year. That way I always have them in my pantry, and they're an easy, brainless meal. They're quick, they cook in like 20 minutes. That way, if I do make an oopsie and I end up making my meal plan and I planned to make this big elaborate dinner, say I was gonna make like a ham and mashed potatoes and homemade rolls on Thursday, and I realized, oh crap, maybe like Lakin has dance practice on Thursdays and I did not account for that. Well, instead of making the meal that I had planned, I'll just go to my pantry and grab one of those convenience meals that I just have on storage for just these occasions, and I will make a hamburger helper instead, and then I will just push back that ham and potato meal and I'll cook it another day. I still have the ingredients, but my convenience meals saved me. So I've learned, do not put your convenience meals in your meal rotation. Go ahead and grab them, still purchase them, but keep them in your freezer, keep them in your pantries, and pull them out when you need them or you want them. We've all had days at work that have gone completely terrible. You don't want to go home and make enchiladas. Maybe you just want to throw in a pizza and call it done, and that's totally okay. But if you only bought 1 pizza during your once a month grocery shopping and you already ate it because it was on your meal plan, you go home and you have nothing, and then maybe you're getting takeout or something like that, which is totally fine. But for a family of 5, that can be really expensive to be doing that every time. It's inconvenient for me to go home and make a meal. So that's where having a pantry with some of those convenience meals or a freezer with some of those convenience meals has really saved me. And my last tip isn't really a tip, but I do want to say this takes time. It takes practice and learning how and when to do things and how they work best for you. You're only gonna know if you give it a shot. Your meal planning method might look very different than mine. That's just how I do it. All my tips to make yourself successful. And if you plan on doing once a month grocery shopping through the year of 2022, I wish you luck. I would definitely say just make sure you're giving yourself enough time and a little bit of grace, because there is a learning curve with everything. This included. I wish you luck on your meal planning journey or your once a month grocery shopping journey. And of course, I will see you tomorrow for another Vlogmas video. Bye.